All right. Gonna check one more thing and then we're gonna get this party started. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Super excited to have you here. This is the first time. Hey, Erica, welcome. Good to see you. I am gonna go ahead and hit the record button and then we'll begin. All right, everyone. Super excited to have you here. This is the first time I've ever taught this class, and it's got a variety of components to it. So I just want to go over some really quick housekeeping items. Number one, don't be driving. And if you're laughing because you're driving right now, that is okay. You can tune in and simply listen. There is going to be a Kundalini Kriya towards the latter part. I'm thinking we'll probably go maybe 45 minutes. I haven't taught this content exactly this manner before, so I always tend to be a little more long-winded than I think. So it's possible we could go for a full hour, but we definitely won't go longer than that. So just be aware. You can, if you want, light some incense. I'm actually going to do that right now. You could light a candle. You can grab some crystals, some stones. If you're watching this on the replay, if you're tuning in live, I'm actually live streaming on YouTube right now. So it's a on-demand replay available immediately. So make sure you have, like distraction-free, turn off any cell phone if you're not on your cell phone right now, or if you can, turn things on, do not disturb, and kind of set a ceremonial space for yourself. I'm actually gonna get my Palo Santo out, cleanse and clear after doing my last client call and just all of the things. I am a big fan of cleansing and clearing. You just never know. You can't do it enough sometimes. So clear your space, quiet your mind, get into your heart, and again, try not to be driving. So we're going to go ahead and just take a couple of grounding breaths also, not knowing where you might have come from this day, whether you're, just waking up, watching the replay, or if you're just about ready to go to bed. Just want to make sure that we're grounded together. So go ahead and close your eyes, get comfy. If you're seated on a chair, get your butt firmly planted to the back of the backrest. Feel a nice, strong, tall spine. Hands can be resting on your lap. If you're on the floor, fantastic. Easy pose is great. We're going to be doing that later. So go ahead and take a nice deep inhale into the belly. Go through the nose. Inhale through the nose. Go ahead. And exhale through the mouth. Go ahead and inhale. And sigh it out. On every inhale, you visualize, imagine seeing a white, pure, crystalline light and energy. Inhaling deep and imagine that light is coming inside of your body, filling up your temple, your body, your heart, your root chakra, your sacral, all the way up through your crown chakra, just eradicating any toxins, stressors, free radicals. Continue to breathe deeply. Letting go of the day, the month, the year, just letting it all go. Being here now in this present moment. Opening your mind and your heart to the possibilities of learning something new. Honoring your time and space you chose to be here, whether you're on the live or the replay. Making a commitment to be present, fully present here and now. Setting an intention for this call, taking a few moments of silence that I'll give you to just set an intention. Why did you show up today? What do you aim to learn or experience in this 45 minutes or so together? Energy flows where intention goes, just like when you're driving the road. Your gaze, your inner eye gaze today is going to trailblaze the road ahead for you. So now that you have your intention, in a moment before we open our eyes, I'm going to guide us through a collective Zoom and me breath so we can all connect with each other's energies. So we're going to inhale to the count of 4, hold at the top, and sigh it out as loud as you want. You can even scream if you need to. Let's go ahead. Inhale deeply through the nose. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. Sipping in a little more air through the mouth with a straw. Suspend the breath. And sigh it out. Slowly coming back to the Zoom room, opening your eyes, wiggling your fingers and toes. And for those of you on the live, and even if you're watching this on YouTube on the replay, type in the chat or comment, why did you show up today? What is your ROI for investing your time here and now? Something that I always encourage people to really be present with. When you commit to something and you show up to something, there's a reason. So if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, please type in the chat, what brought you here today? What do you hope to gain by being here with me today? And you can even say, I don't know. I just thought it was a good idea. That's fine too. Just checking in. I also like participation. Make sure you're awake. All right, Clarity, thank you. Appreciate you. Anyone else want to share? I know we're on webinar. Nobody's on camera, so you can be doing you, but I just really want to know. I'm curious. Release. Okay, beautiful. When we get to the Kriya especially, that's why I'm starting with the left brain stuff and we'll finish with the Kriya. All right, I'm going to go ahead. My intention today is to share with you all that I have learned over the past, well, technically 47 years of my life on this planet, in this body. But in all seriousness, definitely to share with you my passion, my purpose, my magic, and all that I have learned, and to give you some magic. So the goal is to give you the information also about my 66-day Awaken the Goddess and Activate the Kundalini Challenge that starts in March 14th on the full moon. It's actually technically on the eclipse. The eclipse is the 14th, the full moon is the 14th, but it's like in the middle of the night or really early in the morning. So we kick off that 66 days together to awaken the goddess within and activate your Kundalini Shakti. I'm going to talk about that, understanding that. What the heck does that mean? If you're like, I don't even know what that means, Magdalena. The main idea is to love your body, heal your mind, and renew your spirit, and have a breakthrough. So basically today I'm sharing with you my story. You're going to have the free healing with the Kundalini Kriya, and then hear about my 66-day program, and of course, any questions that I might answer. So I'm not sure if you have heard of this gentleman. I always have it's a French, so it's a little bit trippy, but Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Anyway, my minister of my church says it much better than I do. But we are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, there's been different people that have said this. Zig Ziglar said it, we're not, human beings, we're spiritual beings having this human experience, right? So when we choose these bodies, these families of origin, these partners who hurt us, when we go through this journey of life, it ultimately is meant to bring us back to our spiritual divinity. That's what I know to be true. Carl Jung, one of my favorite teachers to talk about shadow work, he said, it's basically you can't, no roots, it's been said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down. Sorry, no tree, it's been said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. And so I'm kind of hitting you with some heavy quotes to start, but there's a method to my madness here, I promise you. With my story, I've experienced a lot of grief, a lot of loss, a lot of trauma. I've lost friends, 12 to suicide between 2006, 2022. I lost both my parents and my brother back to back to back, as well as my stepmother in a very short period of time. I lost myself in working drinking habits for 8 years, had a lot of numbing and dissociative behaviors. Being the black sheep of my family, I didn't know that it meant also that I was a witch wound person, but I felt like an outcast for much of my life. I was very uncertain in my marriage, become very codependent. I am now sharing that I am getting a divorce now, but in 2020, that was when I began to not understand my relationship. I felt like a worthless mom, not knowing that I actually had a mom wound. I also shut down spiritually and completely, having a very deep religion wound. I felt lost in my career. I was making tons of money, but I was coming from a very wounded, toxic, masculine space. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, and we were forced to be homeschooled in our, new home in California, still not really knowing anyone, not really having any friends. And all of a sudden we're in, a major shutdown. So I was basically numb to life and on the hamster wheel. I'd love to know, type in the chat, can anybody here relate to any of that? Can anyone relate to my story on any level? And if you can, maybe type in the chat, which part, if you want to. It's not necessary. It's all private. You don't have to share. But how do you overcome that? How do you come back from that? Well, I'm going to tell you more of the story and more of the journey, because now I can honestly say I am the happiest, healthiest person in my whole life at this moment, right here, right now. And I'm not bullshitting you. It's true. So how did I get here? Well, health is a state of complete harmony of the body, mind, and spirit. I'm a body, mind, spirit alchemist. What does that mean? Really, it's really about healing the mind through physical, spiritual cleansing, ritual, daily practices, meditation, breath work, all of the things that I now have in my witchy tool belt. It really is a state of that harmonization of those three things, okay? Not just one, not just the brain in our head, but also the brain in our heart, the brain in our gut. Did you know we have three brains? A lot of people think about the analysis paralysis, the head brain, the monkey mind, and ultimately, there's so much more to our beings. And that's really important to have those three things in alignment. The heart brain, that's where your compassion, your unconditional love, forgiveness, your heart brain is 5,000 times more magnetic than your head. A lot of times, they say, listen to your heart. I know all those cheesy 80s songs, right? And the gut brain, this is for both men and women, is like the sixth sense, right? Your intuition. Now there's the gut brain is in the sacral chakra. It's connected to the third eye. So, some people say that they're similar, but to me, the gut brain has so much to do with mental health, because there's a lot of neurotransmitters and happy hormones that are created there. So if that's not being listened to or tended to, then, good luck with having good mental health. There's also a very deep physical impact of grief, trauma, and addiction. This is a great example of what happens when we get a liver transplant. The body keeps the score. I'm going to talk about that book in a minute. So there was a story about a woman who got a liver transplant. You can't live without a liver. So she was lucky to get one. However, what she didn't know is that the person who gave her their liver actually had been an alcoholic and a very unhealthy person. So once she was not that. She was like a vegetarian. She was not a smoker, all of these things, not a drinker. But after the surgery, she actually all of a sudden craved beer and Cheetos, because this new liver started to change her way of being from the inside out. Remember, if you've ever heard the phrase as within, so without, this is a great example of that. So we've got to purge, we've got to bring more light in so you can shine your light. And so these are all the things on this screen that I have done. And often, not all of them is something that I offer my clients. It's very individualized, but a lot of these I do work with. So when you have so much trauma, grief, and stagnation, which is where I was at in 2020, when you have so much of that stuck inside of you, the body keeps the score, the brain, the mind, the body. It's so hard to function. So if you purge through tears, somatic release, or shaking, there's something called trauma release, TRE. Exercise helps, breath work helps, yoga, specifically Kundalini, what we're going to do later, helps, ayahuasca, psilocybin, combo frog medicine, microdosing with sacred plants, massage, and the list goes on. But all of these things help regulate your central nervous system. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. They also help your organs function better, your lymphatic, your endocrine system. You know, we have so much going on inside of this meat suit than we realize. And literally, your cravings, your gut health, if that's off, you can have knee-jerk reactions to cravings. If you have trauma wound up in your liver, you can have anger. You can go from 0 to 100 in 0.2 nanoseconds if you don't know how to navigate and dissolve or transmute or alchemize the anger. So you got to have tools. And if we don't work through this release physically and emotionally, of course, we're going to be imbalanced mentally. And ultimately, we've all been imbalanced as a planet for thousands of years. I'm not going to get too geeky about astrology or full moon, new moon stuff, but just really quickly, we have almost ended the Kali Yuga era. That's been around for 4,000 to 5,000 years plus. The Piscean age and the Aries age is where it's kill or be killed, patriarchy. If you've heard of that, it's basically overtaking women and in men and children and controlling power, greed, sex, rape, pillaging, all of it. My ancestors did it. Your ancestors did it. We can't escape it. It's in our DNA. It's in our cells. It's in our bodies. We've become human doings, if you see that on the left-hand side, more than human beings, which is kind of ironic since normally we're called human beings. And the being side of the brain, this is the two hemispheres of the brain. The being side of the brain is the feminine. That's the creative, intuitive, artistic creation, feeling, imagination. That's the meditative side. When you sit and reflect and meditate instead of scrolling on your cell phone, hanging out on social media, oops, sorry about that, doing too much, right? Then you can receive downloads from the universe, from your higher self, from the divine. However, if you were like me in 2020, basically most of my adult life, I was in the doingness state. Type in the chat if you can relate to that. So I was overanalyzing. I'm a double Virgo, so I get a double helping of that. Very much into logic. It had to make sense. Ideas, thinking, overthinking, facts, math, and training. Getting another certification, learning, but maybe not always applying. So we have to get out of our heads and into our hearts, as well as just getting into our right mind, which is the being side. And interesting enough, the right side of the brain is connected to the left side of the body. And guess where the heart is? It's on the left side of our body. So ultimately, the emotional impact of denying your truth as an empowered woman, healer, and yes, I know we have a man here, but you know, you could even just say feminine energy, healer, nurturer is big. And this was what happens when you don't heal. You're operating oftentimes in loops of trauma, unconscious. You know, Carl Jung talks about the unconscious mind, and allowing yourself to come from that space can be any of these symptoms. So these are trauma responses. Take a look at this slide: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And type in the chat for those of you who are on the live, or if you're even on the replay, comment below. Where do you stand on this scale? Which one is your number one challenging area of your life? I love to get audience participation. I know for me, my top two were flight and fawn. I was always overthinking. I was running with an underlying anxiety, which made me drink a lot of alcohol, or that was my choice. OCD, difficulty sitting still, perfectionist, fawn, people pleasing, codependency, overwhelmed. I was addicted to overwhelm. I had no boundaries, right? Thank you, Erica. I see your response. So at the end of the day, I had all of these, And as I started the healing process, guess what? I slowly dissolved each one of these. And now I can actually see them as a witness. I just had a great podcast today with my first spiritual teacher from 2016. I can now, I'd say about 75% of the time, observe and witness my thoughts and emotions. I actually pay more attention to my feelings and how my body feels than my head anymore, which is huge. If you just focus on your thoughts, it's actually much worse. So you got to be in your body. But once you connect the body, emotion, feeling with the thought, then you can understand, oh, that's my ego. Oh, that's my little girl or little boy operating from fear from something that happened when I was 3. Do you get me? Is everyone type in the chat if I'm making sense, just so I kind of know that you know what I'm talking. Some of this can get lost in translation, so I just want to make sure. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Lee. I appreciate it. So now that you've identified that, this is going to be important. So hopefully you wrote this down, because when we do the Kriya later, I want you to set an intention. Okay. We also have these things called chakras. If you see the picture here, this beautiful lotus seated position person has 7 chakras from top to bottom, bottom to top, all along what? The spine and the central nervous system connects the gut brain, the heart brain, and the head brain, and all of your vital organs. In a little bit, when we do our Kundalini Kriya, you're going to have an opportunity to activate your vagus nerve with your sound, with your throat chakra, activating that. And that's going to hit all of these chakras and open them up and say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for some clearing. And when these are clear, these chakras, Sanskrit for wheel, it means that you're in harmony with the universe, essentially. You're open. You're an open channel for blessings and to be a blessing to others. How cool is that? So here's the problem, though. If your root chakra, which is developed between the ages of 0 to 7, sacral was developed between the ages of 7 and 14, solar plexus between the ages of 14 and 21, heart between 21 and 28, throat between 28 and 35, third eye between 35 and 42, the crown 42 plus. So if you also notice, there's some feelings, emotions associated with each area. And if you think back on your life, I want you to take a few moments to reflect as I go through this. When you were 0 to 7, that's also when you're developing your emotional pain body. Did you have a lot of abandonment or fear? Did you not get your bottle in time? Did you not get your blankie for some reason? Did you cry and cry and cry in your crib for an hour? Because that's a lot of what our parents thought they were supposed to do. Did you feel neglected? Your emotional pain body developed at that time. And if you, for example, are like me, I had a lot of abandonment as a kid. And so therefore, a lot of times I would be on autopilot. I'd be trying to people please. I'd drink alcohol. I'd feel very ungrounded. And that is, again, what could be blocking your root chakra, making it very hard to focus and to stay steady. Sacral, that is developed between ages of 7 and 14. Hello, puberty. Hello, body's developing. Hello, hair is growing on all sorts of places that it wasn't before. Guess what? If you have sexual desires, urges, or creativity or flow, and you want to be out loud and landish or whatever, you probably got the Catholic guilt thing going on, right? Probably got guilted into believing certain things. And that blocks your sacral, which blocks your creativity, blocks your ability to receive. The solar plexus is ages 14 to 21. That's when you're starting to develop independent and freedom. You become an adult. By the end of that, you may be in college. You may start dating. You may start being sexually active. You may start drinking a lot of alcohol, drugs, right? So you're giving your power away. If your solar plexus wasn't strong, there was obviously disempowerment and shame blocking it. Grief and anger between the ages of 21 and 28. I had a lot of people start to die at that time. I had my first business failure during that time. So there's a lot of grief and a lot of anger. Throat develops between the ages of 28 and 35. That's where a lot of times you're speaking your truth in marriage, speaking your truth in relationships, speaking your truth in your career. And so if you were blocked in that area, no wonder you married someone that probably wasn't a great partner and now you're divorcing. Or no wonder you didn't stand up and speak your truth in your job, and maybe you're jumping from job to job and feeling very unfulfilled because you're not standing up for yourself and asking for what you want, asking for the paycheck that you deserve. Third eye illusion. That's developed between the 35 and 42. A lot of times that's where people start to have a spiritual awakening, by the way, sort of the beginning of a midlife crisis. And you can have, tough time struggling to trust yourself. And then, of course, the crown, the attachment. That's where attachment starts to come in. Buddhists always talk about that philosophy of detachment. But if you are attached to the way things should be, the way things you should look, the way things you should do, or how you should be, or who you should be, that's why most people implode in their 40s. If you've already done that before 40s, congratulations. You're getting an early start. Didn't happen for me till about 43, 44. And at the end of the day, that's when you are starting to wake up. But if you have all of this mental health issues, if you have all of this attachment to the way things should be or how the election should have been, for example, then you're blocked and you're not open to those divinely inspired messages that are meant for you. And then you're operating from status quo. You're operating from complacency. You're operating from woulda, shoulda, coulda, and regret. So, in addition to my story that I shared earlier about all of the death and all of the things, we always want to look at the origin story if we can. Not saying you have to know or look at it, because sometimes that's painful. But my story started when I was basically in utero. My mom was a schizophrenic. I was the youngest of four. And my older brother actually died of alcoholism because of the mother wound. So I always wanted to be a good girl. I always wanted to be perfect because otherwise I was afraid I would be abandoned, which also then led me to make interesting decisions with partnerships, not only married, but business partnership. And that's a lot of people pleasing, fawning, codependency, attachment. So honestly, I'm super grateful to say that I chose this family of origins so that I could have these karmic experiences, so that I could awaken here at age 47 and be as about healthy, happy, whole, and complete as I possibly could, so that I could teach this stuff to you. So how does someone heal this deeply and move on and find joy, peace, bliss, etc.? Well, and I know we have men and women watching this, so just go with me on this, gentlemen. By owning and healing your feminine and masculine energies in balance and reclaiming, especially you women, I will say this because this is kind of triggering, and I forgot to mention, if I say something that doesn't land with you, don't worry, just let it roll in one ear and out the other. But we have a planetary awakening right now, a remembering, a recognizing of the truth. We don't have a heavenly father. God is not a man. She's a woman. She's a goddess. We all came from the womb of no thing. The cosmic bang, or the whatever you think that created the planet, came from the darkness and the void of the womb of Sophia. So ultimately, the goddesses are returning now to help heal, awaken, and transform you. And especially you ladies, you are a goddess. And if you reclaim that, if you awaken that, anything is possible. You can have your cake and eat it too, maybe a bad analogy, but you can actually own your sexual power, your Kundalini, Shakti, have all of your chakras awakened and open, and be the best mom, be the best partner, be the best leader. And yes, we can then also help awaken the men on our planet. So thanks to you men who are here. If you help awaken the goddesses, you're going to get tenfold back. So please share this information with the women in your life. So before we do the Kundalini Kriya, what the heck is Kundalini Shakti? So there's a picture on here. I don't know how well you can see it. Kundalini is an energy. Kundalini is also known as the serpent, the snake. This is the year of the snake. That's why I'm doing this program in this manner and at this time. I want to help you awaken the Kundalini Shakti, life force, energy, prana, chi inside of you that will open up your chakras, right? We already talked about why that's important, so I hope I don't have to review that. You're removing all those blockages. You're also doing another beautiful thing. So whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter. You have two hemispheres of your brain, right? We talked about that, female and male. These are energies. These are archetypes. So like your mom and dad, they were the examples. Maybe you don't think they were the best examples, but guess what? You chose them. So spoiler alert, if you blame anyone, it's your fault because I'm just kidding. I'm sort of being silly. But I believe we all chose our parents, our partners, our perpetrators, all of them. And Radical Forgiveness helped me recognize that. It's a great book, by the way, Radical Forgiveness, in owning that and taking radical responsibility and not playing the victim anymore. And what helped me with that was Kundalini, yoga, breath work, meditation. And you see the snake starts at the base of this Merkaba. So imagine that's your spine. And the serpent is coiled down there. It's waiting to be activated. You have to activate it. Sometimes it can happen on its own, but that can be very scary. That's also why I'm doing this program with people together, because you want to do this on your own, or you could lose your mind. You could go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But if you have the snake coiled and all of a sudden it's awakened, then you see how it's actually two snakes, male and female. Again, doesn't matter if you're non-binary, transgender, man, woman, doesn't matter. It's the same for all of us. And it's snaking in that 8 symbol, crossing at the chakras, awakening the feminine and masculine polarities. So healing the mother-father wound, healing the witch wound, cleansing and clearing the 7 deadly sins, all the shame, the guilt, the fear, all of the stuff that the church talked about. Actually, anyway, I'm not going to go there, but the main idea is these are just energies, these lower vibrational energies, especially the lower 3 chakras, have got to be cleansed and cleared in order you to be in a healed masculine and feminine and awakened state of love, joy, peace, patience, bliss. Type in the chat. Are you with me? Is this making sense? You can type in the chat. That would be fantastic. Just so I know you're tracking with me on the Kundalini. I know it's a lot to take in. And that's also why I was asking it to the best of your ability, be as present as you can, because it's a lot. Okay, cool. Awesome. Just wanted to make sure. So, and anybody watching this on the replay, you might even want to pause and rewind, because it's really, really important stuff to understand and listen to it more and more, then you'll get it more and more. So at the end of the day, what we want to do is actually, there we go. So being able to do this practice that we're about to do now is going to help your soul come into healing these karmic ties, these soul contracts. Yes, the pain and suffering, and really having compassion, love, grace, and acceptance for all of your shadows. And again, all of the people who may have hurt you over time. So to give an example of this and to help you have an experience of healing, because I know what one of the reasons, Erica, I know you came here for release. Lee, you came here for clarity. We're about to do that now. So what I invite you to do is to go ahead and get comfortable. Now, this is where I'm not going to sit on the floor because I'm doing this video. But if you want to sit on the floor, I am going to do this with you. I'm going to show you a hand mudra, so you got to pay attention. We're actually going to just do it for 6 to 7 minutes. Normally, inside of the 66-day program, we're actually going to be doing it for 12 minutes a day. Okay? 12 minutes a day, so that you have the opportunity to have a breakthrough. However, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, give or take, what we're going to do now is still very powerful. So I'm going to show you first the hand gestures. So what you're going to do, and do this with me, because when I start the video and you get lost, you're just gonna have to come back at another time and do this again. So make sure you're ready. So I'm going to show you the hand mudra. So your mudra looks like this. So you're going to put thumb and index finger together. So practice it with me, then I'll do a little bit more and then we'll jump in together. And what you're going to do is you're going to listen to the audio. I'm going to do a little opening and then we're going to do 6 minutes of this. You're going to take thumb to index finger, then thumb to middle finger, then thumb to ring finger, then thumb to pinky. Sa, ta, na, ma. You're going to sing. It's like EMDR for the brain, but it's also activating the polarities on your right and left side, the feminine and the masculine. It's also opening up your chakras. It's also healing your gut brain, your heart brain, and your head brain. This is one of the best kriyas out there. And kriya just means it's like basically healing karma. It's basically healing your karma, removing negative energies and healing your karma. I oftentimes, admittedly, will cry when I do this. I've cried a ton this winter going and growing through my divorce, and I did this kriya for 40 days straight. I purged a shit ton of emotion, guilt, shame, fear, like literally crying, sobbing, all of it. So if you're going through a hard time right now, no matter what it is, it doesn't have to be a divorce, it can be anything. This will help you heal from the inside out. So again, do it with me. Sa, ta, na, ma. Finger, index finger, middle finger, ring, pinky. Sa, ta, na, ma. Once we get started, you're going to figure it out. There's basically, it's chanting. Sa, ta, na, ma means I am the light, I am the truth. It's basically reclaiming your power. And so as you sing it, you listen to the audio, there's going to be 1 minute of singing, sa ta nama, 1 minute of whispering, sa ta nama, then 2 minutes of silence, but you're going to be saying it inside your head as you're moving your fingers. So it'll be silently stated inside of your head. You'll get into a hypnotic trance. So don't worry if you all of a sudden just like seem to like almost fall asleep. It may not happen for you if it's your first time, but it might. Just come back and continue. If you lose track, continue. And then there'll be 1 more minute of whispering and 1 more minute of singing, and then we'll close. And then we'll see how you feel. So you can sit on the floor in lotus pose, just like the picture of that chakra person. You can sit however you want to sit. You can sit in a chair. I'm going to stay seated on this stability ball at my desk, so you can be at a desk. You don't have to be on the floor. Being on the floor just shows reverence. Lotus position shows reverence to the death, rebirth, renewal of the lotus flower. But you do you. The last thing I'll tell you, and then I just want to check in and make sure you're ready to go, is I'm going to start you with an opening invocational chant, Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I'm not going to teach that. We don't have time. You'll learn about that in the program. But ultimately, you just simply receive it. Receive the mantra that I'll be singing to you. And then at the end, I will close with a closing mantra. Okay? So go ahead and get in your position. Any questions before we start? Any questions before we start? Type in the chat. Otherwise, type in the chat that you're ready to go. You're ready? Okay, thank you, Erica. All right, Lee, you ready? Cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'll do the opening chant and then we'll get started with the 6 to 7 minutes. So let me just in fact, let me do a test run just to be overly anal. I'm going to play the audio. I'm going to start it and just tell me if you can hear it or if it's too loud. So I'm going to go ahead and play. How was that audio? Was that pretty good? Type in the chat if it was reasonable, if it was okay. You could hear it, yeah? Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. So go ahead. If it gets too loud, you can always turn down your audio on your side just to be safe. So what you're going to do is put your hands in prayer pose. Right hand into left, left into right. Put them in front of your sternum or front of your heart breastplate, heart chakra. You're going to go ahead and take a nice deep inhale in. Inhale. And exhale. Eyes are closed. If you know how to do the third eye gaze, you can do that now. Now we're going to inhale to tune in. Inhale. Inhale. One more time, join me if you'd like. Inhale. Inhale one last time and suspend the breath. Inhale and hold. Suspending the breath suspends the mind. Feel the 3 bottom lower chakras, belly engaged nice and tight. And exhale. Now we're going to begin bringing your hands in Gyan Mudra. That is basically the name for bringing your index finger to your thumb, and just follow along and enjoy the Kriya. Setting that intention to what it is that you want to let go of, a trauma response, let go of a fear, shame, guilt, a negative emotion that is holding you back in life.
Satanama, 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 Satanama,
Keeping your eyes closed, staying in that mudra position. Go ahead now and take a nice deepest inhale. Suspend the breath, hold it, and then sigh it out. Sealing the practice, bringing your hands back into prayer pose. Just taking a moment, returning back to your normal breath, doing a body scan. There's only 7 minutes, but just tuning in to see what you notice is different. And then I'm going to seal the practice with Sat Nam 3 times. You can join me or simply receive. I'm going to inhale and tune in or close out. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Setting an intention, moving forward for the rest of your day before I close with sharing some information about the program. What do you intend on this new moon's eve? What is your wish, your prayer for your life, for your family? Just take a moment to settle in on that. Whether it's better health, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, better relationships, better finances, just tune in with that. And go ahead and join me back here, opening your eyes. Before I close with some thoughts and shares about the program, how do you feel? Any shifts, any releases, anything you notice different? Yay. Good. Yeah. Keep in mind, this was only 7 minutes. There is, double that amount of time is what we'll be doing inside of the program. This exact Kriya for the long version, the 12-minute version, give or take, is what I did for 40 days, literally as I finalized my decision to move forward with divorce, which is a massive, massive, massive decision, which encapsulated a boatload of grief and broke me open, okay? I was already doing this since 2021 as I was healing the mother-father wound, as I was going through. I just wasn't doing it every day. And so I'm really committed with this program. And I'm actually going to share my screen, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you can also follow along if you would prefer. And at this time, no offense to you dudes, this is only for women. You can work with me as a man one-on-one if you would like, but this is the program. So it's about having your best year ever. I'm going to offer this up 3 times this year, okay? The ideal would be you could do all 3 of them. I've made it irresistibly affordable. There's an option without microdosing and there's an option with microdosing. I'm not going to talk about microdosing today, but it's basically helping you starting the full moon. So we're going to have 2 full moons and 2 new moons during this time. Starting in eclipse season, March is going to be insane. Okay, March Madness. There's a reason. There's almost always eclipses. It's a time also where the goddess awakens. It's springtime. The goddess. We're planting seeds, ladies. We're planting seeds that you'll be manifesting for the next 3 months to 6 months. Okay, so you, if you're in the 40 to 60-year-old range, you're a professional or an entrepreneur. You've had a lot of wounds, a lot of life transitions, death, divorce, empty nesting, moving, loss or abandonment wounds that are activated. It's also ideal if you're just really wanting to safely support yourself through your own Kundalini or spiritual awakening that's happening on the planet right now. You can't stop it. It's also great if you're struggling with the witch or religion wound, okay? And I picked 66 days first because science says that it takes 66 days to transform mind, body, spirit, and to get lasting change. It's not 21 days, it's 66, okay? Also, the angel number, 66, is connected to love, balance, and spiritual growth. So I thought this is a great way to help you improve your health, wealth, and relationships and career and have a major, major breakthrough like I have. So essentially, we want to help heal and reach that inner child, inner guru, inner goddess. And we're going to take 66 days together. So we're going to have a group container. There will be in-person stuff as well as mostly online. So if you're in San Diego, you can join me for in-person stuff. We're going to focus on loving and awakening your body. So I'm going to encourage you to have movement. And it could just be the Kundalini. It doesn't have to be exercise. It could be dancing. It could be walking. But there's going to be a protocol inside of the group. I'm not going to go over that all now, but encouraging movement to help, the body release all of that tension and stress. Healing your mind, we're going to work on meditation. And of course, the Kundalini Kriya is 40 days out of the 66. And again, we're going to be doing that constant chakra clearing with the Kundalini Kriya. So you're going to be renewing your spirit at the same time. So ladies, if you want to stand in your power and be truly alive, having more joy, bliss, and peace, the ultimate goal is to have you embrace yourself as a goddess and embrace your divinity, embrace your humanity. Of course, that's going to bring about confidence, potential weight loss, loving yourself more than ever, connecting with a sacred practice every day, reducing or eliminating addictive behaviors, improving your relationships, mental clarity, so on and so forth. The list is going to be endless. I'm going to encourage you, it doesn't have to look a certain way. I'm going to encourage you to set a personal and professional goal, something along, health, wealth, relationships, or career. The deadline, of course, is March 11th, so you have to sign up by then. I have a promo code that expires Friday. You get $77 off of the total because I was born in 1977. 1977 was the year of the snake. So Friday, the 28th, is the deadline for that promo code. And then we start on the 15th and we're going to roughly the end of May. So we'll have weekly group calls on Tuesdays, which includes a lot of stuff. You can look at the link. I'm not going to read everything here for you. You'll get a one-on-one call with me. There's going to be 2 full moon and 2 moon ceremonies online, as well as in-person Kundalini and cacao, Erica, as well as a yoni steam for Mother's Day weekend. And there's just going to be a lot of stuff, okay? So I'm not going to go over all of that. If you have questions, email me, support@microdosingforhealth. But here's the deal. I could charge thousands of dollars for this because of what I'm doing. For 66 days, I'm pouring myself into you, ladies. I'm pouring myself into you. This is the first time I've done this particular program. I've done 4-week programs before, but not this long. So I'm only charging $777. There are 2 and 3 payment plans. And again, there is a promo code for $77 off. So it's $700. And you can easily do the payment plan option. Just click on here if you want to go without the microdosing. If you want the microdosing, it's only $222 more, and you get a second coach call. So in theory, you could say I'm losing money on the deal because time is money, right? But I wanted to make this affordable. And this also has a 3-pay option. If this doesn't work for you, or if you're a male or identify as male and you don't want to awaken the goddess, there is one-on-one mentorship. That's, on a case-by-case basis, and something that can definitely be accomplished, and I have an application process for that. So here we are. It's been exactly 1 hour. I want to honor your time. Is there any questions? Do you want to put them in the chat? Beautiful. No questions. My hope is that you can have an awakening this year, that you can live your best life this year. 2025 is supposed to be a really hard transition year for all of us. And yet I feel like I have cracked the code and learned so much through this spiritual awakening that I want to help you go through it safely, securely, and in a transformational inside out way. For as within, so without, as above, so below. So we are surrounded by these energies, and they can be triggering. It's a big time. A lot of people are getting sick and being sick for a long time. It's ascension symptoms. And if you don't have the ways and the process and the tools to help move the energy safely, you could miss a lot of work and lose a lot of money, or you could just simply be depressed and stagnant and feel like you're on the hamster wheel like I did, or you lean heavily on addictions like I did, or you attract not so great aligned partners. The list goes on and on. So my hope is that you find yourself this year, that you find your best self, your higher self, and awaken that goddess and God for you men. You all have the goddess within. We all have the feminine. And that's really what's waking up right now. So helping you balance that feminine and masculine also is really a huge part of this program. So if you have any questions, please email me or comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. And until I see you again, I do have one more webinar next week. If you want to attend next Wednesday, I'm actually changing the time. So if you've seen it promoted in the morning, I'm changing it to the afternoon. So if you want to come back for a second time, the deadline, of course, to sign up is March 11th. And as long as I have 5 women or more, I will offer up and move forward with the program. So that'd be the only catch is if I don't have enough. But my goal is to have more than enough and to have a small group. It's not going to be a large group. So just so you know, you're not a number. Your journey matters to me, and your awakening matters to me. So until next time, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and relationships, and by trusting that best inner guru, teacher wisdom within.